I was born in Hindu culture, so I'm free to believe in anything. So I don't believe in like particular thing. I just need a vibes. I need some energy. So I won't say like this is bad, this is wrong. But at the end of the day, everyone is happy. Then I'm happy as well. What I am, if I do bad thing, that's on me. I owe it. But willingness is within you. As I told before, it could be right for you. It could not be right for me as well. So same thing with religion. Because end of the day, it's your journey. The religion, the claims, the everything, it's just a framework. If you wish to follow it, that's completely to you. If you don't want to wish it, and just mix max, like as I do as well, mix max from everything, I can do that as well. So
It's a beautiful day today. I went out and actually had a great conversation with a young man, Hindu man from Nepal. I went a little bit pressed. I pressed him hard a little bit, and that is because this is not the first time I've had a conversation with a young Nepali guy, and especially with his background. He's a computer scientist studying here in London, and the kind of conversations that I have is usually they're very respectful, respecting all religions, happy to have a conversation always, but there's a sense in which there's like a pick and choose whatever fits right for the person. That's good for them. It's not like a respecting and a kind of a search for what is actually true, what is worth pursuing. And I wondered why that was. And it's interesting, this young man kind of compared religions to, in his computer science background, to different languages or even different operating systems. They said, look, for you it might be Java, for someone else might be C++ or JavaScript or something else that just makes sense for them and gets them to the answer, gets them to what they want to achieve. What's the big deal? It was an interesting analogy, but ultimately I try to make a point to him. Not actually, religion is not like different languages that get you to the same place, just in different ways. But actually, if we were to compare languages to religions, it would be like, okay, in one religion, like there is no language. There's not even ways to even articulate. There's not even sense in trying to pursue a language. So just believe. Other religion might say some sort of gibberish that wouldn't even compile. So we need to find which language actually compiles and gets us to the end. That's the nature of, if we were to use that analogy. So in any case, I'd love to speak to this man. He seemed really bright. He seemed really thinking about these things, and maybe just some of the background that he's went through kind of sticked with him to the extent that he carries some of his cultural understanding and baggage with him, where he didn't want to kind of commit to any specific religion, but really respected all of them and had friendships with people of all sorts of backgrounds, which I respect. But I also impressed upon him that it's worth never stopping learning, never asking those questions about what is ultimately the truth. Truth is something that will set us free. So wished him well. Changed some details with him, so hopefully we can maybe stay in touch. I do think he's going to be successful, hopefully, in his studies, and wished him well. But have a look at his conversations. Let me know what you thought, and see you in the next one. God bless. Do you have any belief, any faith, any religion?
to be honest, I was born in Hindu culture, so I'm like rooted to that culture. But to be honest, I don't believe in any particular religion, so I'm free to believe in anything. But more than religion, I believe there's like energy. So the energy is like passing through. So there's like a good energy and bad energy as well. So it's depend on you what your job and what you do with it. So.
Right. In your sort of ponderings about this issue, have you looked at any of the other, apart from Hinduism, apart from any other world religions?
But to be honest, like I'm from Nepal, basically. So in Nepal, there's no particular like Hindu, Muslim. So we are like all together in one thing. But we are heavily influenced by Hindu, and beside that, we are the Buddhism as well.
Yeah.
So I follow Buddhism and Hinduism, and also I got like lots of friends from Muslim as well. So I like when they have Ramadan, I'll go with them and join them as well in their Eid. And also I have like lots of Christian friends as well. So it's here and there in every like few alternative Sundays, I might go there as well. So they have like community thing, they just sing. So I'm just there. So I don't believe in like particular thing. I just need a vibes. I need some energy. So there's like a good people. So if you go in like gym, you know, like they have like one set of mindset for
Yeah.
their body. So if you go in like religion, same, they have one set of thing, like they will have to like give it to someone else. So it depends on the mindset. If you go in like pop or maybe like thing, they have like different mindset. So if you go in like particular area like that, so more than religion, they have like a mindset, the giving. So that is more valuable than religion, I guess.
Cool. All right, it seems like you're very friendly, right? You're open to all sorts of. You have friends of all sorts of backgrounds and religions, so that's a great. First of all, a great attitude, right, to have. But would you agree, right? Would you agree that that's all nice, right? I'm not saying anything against. That's how we should all sort of approach whatever we are. We should relate on a human level. We should have respect, whatever people's choices are. But when it comes to the big questions of life, right? Is there a God? If there is, who is he? What does he look like? What happens after we die? Each one of these religions would say different things,
Something,
right?
yeah,
They will make different claims. These are pretty big questions, right? And they cannot all be true. One of them, either they're all false, or one of them is true, and the others are not true. Right? Would you agree with that?
I would say, yeah, like there is a belief in every single like religions. I do respect that as well. But I think if you start something, there will always come with a myth. Like if there is a fact, there's always a myth around it. So when we started like the religion or something like that, they might have like actual belief in it to like develop in a system. But regarding that, we have lots of like regardless myth as well. So what I'm trying to say is like if we today like we decided to like stop all the religions today, obviously like people have to look up to something, so they will just make one new religion. So the religion is never ending and the god is never ending as well. So I think there's like always a power, as I told earlier as well. So like the like invisible power, so it's about the vibes and energy. So it's like within you as well, the auras, chakras and everything, so within you as well. So I don't think so when you die you would just like go in heaven or like hell. That could be true, I don't know, I've not died. So but there is like energy passing through. If you go in like scientific perspective as well, the energy neither can be created neither be destroyed, so it will just transfer from one thing to another thing. So maybe we'll just transfer to another thing, we never know.
Yeah, well, that's certainly a possibility. That's one view, right? But I guess where I was going with that is that it's there is evidence, right? There's evidence that there are myths. Of course, there are myths, and what you said about if all religions were to go away, then the next thing the next day, right, someone would invent something new. But I think to me that I agree with that, right? But to me that just speaks that we are spiritual people, right?
Yeah.
We don't just live based on the what we can feel and
need hope.
touch, right?
Yeah,
we need
hope.
something more. We are made in such a way that we're desiring answers to the deepest questions of who are we, why are we here, what happens, what is this life about, and what happens after life, right? So I think the very next day people will start asking those questions, right, and looking at the creation, that will wonder, well, where did this come from, right, and how did this come about, right? So I agree with you on that basis, but I also think personally that I think we can do a little bit more than just kind of give up and kind of say, well, this is just different perspectives, and we're all sort of looking at the one thing but from different lenses, because I think there's enough evidence in some cases that we can say, okay, well, this religion, we can look at their claims and we can investigate them, right? We can compare them to other religions' claims, right? So if one says one thing, the other says another thing, what evidence are they putting forth? How are they explaining that? Is there historical basis? Is there archaeological? Does it align with what we know about science or not? If we look at the universe, does that kind of make sense or not? So I think there's a little bit more than we can do, right? And I think these things are worth pursuing, because ultimately these questions are quite big and important, that they're worth settling on. I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with it. And there's like lots of research like that happened as well in past as well, and it's still going on as well. But there's like a gray line. We can't say like white or black. So there's always a gray line. So we can just, it could be mythical as well. It could be factual as well. So if you there's no relevant like evidence like for instance, if I have to do research and I can't go up to my like dead grandpa and just say, are you in heaven or hell? I can't even straight ask to him. But we have like some of like spiritual like interaction we had before, like if personally we had like I had it as well. So it could be my delusion thing as well, but it could be true as well. So I don't know what to rely on it. So same thing might happen to common people as well when they do research and everything. The data, like it depends on the data as well. So like where they got it, how they got it,
Yeah.
and also like the background as well, cultural background as well. So for us, we have like truly rooted to our like grandpas and like grandmothers. We always devour them. So for them, like for us, we like tends to like seek them like blessing even though they are not with us as well. So we just like keep poking them and following them as well. And every single year we do some special like ritual when they like the day when they die. So every single in their memories. So same thing with us. So maybe the same thing happens to them as well, but there's no clear evidence still yet, personally, like talking to my point of view, like hell and heaven. But when it started, I think it started when like the people started doing wrong thing as well. So in order to just make them like in within a system, if you do something wrong you will go to hell, if you do something right you will go to hell. So maybe people tends to believe that, and they will just go to they would prefer to go to hell rather than to hell. So they will just do good things in society, I guess. That's my point of view.
Maybe, right? And I think you bring up a couple of other very valid points, right? So there's a sense of morality, right? And I would actually put it the other way around. I think I know I've heard this before a lot, right? Religion can be used to control the masses, right? To control societies, right? And
I would not say like control, but maybe like giving a direction, or maybe
giving
like
direction,
towards
yeah.
something.
But I would say that I would almost like put it the opposite way, like certainly like to give you an example, right? So we're in England, in the UK, right? If you look at the common law of the UK, and you kind of research like how did we come about with the basic laws, even the things like a constitution in the United States is something very similar, right? But there's a sense in which it itself is based on biblical principles, right? You know, the Ten Commandments that are in the Bible they find their kind of imprint, almost like their thumbprint, right, in the Constitution of the United States as well as in some of the UK common law, right? And I think to me that's reflective of, okay, there's something interesting here. If at the basic level we are kind of moral beings, and if as a moral being we feel that some things are instinctively wrong, murdering, stealing, lying, desiring something that is not ours, disrespecting our parents, I mean, where did that come from, right? We have to ask ourselves, where does that come from? Because to your point that you made earlier, if we just got rid of those laws tomorrow, I think that it wouldn't take too long for us to come about again something similar, right? So there's something about us, right? Something the way we're made that has that common thing around us, right? And then that begs another question, right? Like, why are we made like that? Who made us like that? And does that point to a creator who, when he created us, did he give us that sense of morality? Like, what do you think about that?
I think that's true as well, but it, like looking at different perspective as well, like different culture as well, they have a different point of view. But I will just compare like religion side and scientific side for now. So the religion side says like someone has given us like wisdom or like some morality within us. So like we'll do good thing, and also we could like do a bad thing as well. But it counts as well. I talk about the energy as well. So it counts as the energy as well. So what we are duping out, and looking at the scientific term, like we are like born from one small like atoms something. Then we just like grew up. Then but when we grew up, the society and our parents shape us, so they influence heavily. So how to take a decision, how to take things. We might not like think like the murder is a bad thing if we were like born in like the war area, and we'll just think like the murdering is the only one thing, that's my only goal. But now this area, like the murder is like a severe crime. So that could be one possibility as well, having the morality and wisdom as well. And for the religion side as well, obviously there is like there is something within you as well. You don't want to do the bad stuff intentionally, because if I tell you now I'll give you like 100k, would you like kill that guy? Your morality won't like definitely say it won't. So there's like something within you as well. So maybe that could be anything, maybe like energies, maybe chakras, spiritual, like God within you. You can name it anyway, but and nevertheless, this like world should be happy. That's my only thought. So I won't say like this is bad, this is wrong, but at the end of the day, everyone is happy. Then I'm happy as well.
But again, I applaud your way of being very sort of open and kind of looking at common ground and trying to get along with everyone. And I think you bring up another valid point, and that is that in addition to what seems to be similar in terms of morality of human beings, there's also some things that are different, right? Whether they are cultural, whether they are by our parents or the society, and they're not all good, right? I think that's your point, right? They're not necessarily all good. In some societies today, we I would not agree at all with what they're doing, right? And vice versa, they might not agree with what we're doing here as well. So I think it's worth to recognize that. I mean, what we call so I'm a Christian by background, right? We would call that sin, right? There's sin. There's a sense in which, in addition to what I believe that God has put in me, the sense of morality, there's also a sense in which He gave me freedom to choose. But then me, because the way I'm made, I want to do best for myself, right? Yeah. And if I want to do best for myself, that means sometimes I need to make choices that are better for me than for you, right? And so I'll please myself, then I'll first, and then I'll consider pleasing you. I mean, that's kind of how it goes, right? But we often take that to the level of, even if God told me to not do something, I'll still go ahead and do it because I feel it pleases me more. Right, and so that's the idea of sin. And do you think that idea of sin, like I think you talked about a little bit about this sort of energy, and I know that there's different ways of different religions consider like what happens after we die. There's karma, there's reincarnation. But what's your view on what we call in Christianity judgment, right? So in Christianity, there's a sense of at the end of our life there will be a judgment. We'll be responsible for what we've done and how we've lived our life. Yeah, what's your thought on that?
To be honest, I think all the religions have the same belief. Even with the Muslim, even with the like Hindu as well, we have like things when we die. Like we'll just like evaluate what of the good things we have done, what of the bad thing we didn't done, and then like there is like always like one thing like in Christian as well and Muslim as well. In Hindu, there's like called Yamaraj. He will decide, are you going to hell or are you going to heaven? So there's like a in like any of the religion, there's like people like believing that you will be evaluated, but more or less, I don't think so. You will be evaluated as that, because if it's like that, then as you can see, you can't say which is good, which is bad, because all the rules are keep changing it. And the things, as you told as well, it could be pleasuring you, it could be right for you, but it could be bad for them. So there is no right and wrong answer for that as well, to even to justify and judgment as well. So yeah, and another day, as I told as well, so keep doing a good thing. And more than any religions, I believe in more in Gautam Buddha. So I'm not saying I'm like wishing like I'm praying him, but I'm saying like I'm following his kind of path. So yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, as your point was, do you believe in like the guy who's just gonna have the judgment when you die? I think it could be one, maybe, I don't know.
And does that concern you if there is one, right? Does that concern you, like where would your standing be?
No, I don't think so. That will definitely, it won't concern me at all. Because if I like pretend to do nice thing just for that, I'm not a nice guy at the end of the day. So what I am, if I do bad thing, that's on me. I owe it. So if I do good thing, that's blessing for me. So that's for me. So.
Yeah, but I guess okay, but let's. I mean, now it's gonna get a little bit deeper, right? Personal, maybe even. But like, you would agree, potentially, as much as you try to do good things, as you said that you're trying to do, the best to everyone. But you would agree that sometimes you fail below your own standards, right? Below your own standards, right? I look at back some of the decisions that I made in my life, some of the reactions that I had, the way I've treated people, and I I'm ashamed of that, right? It's still today, right? I look
Yeah.
back and I'm like, oh man, I really, really don't feel good about that, right? And it comes back to me, and I kind of cringe at that, and it feels bad. It sits really badly on me. But I mean, you presume that's true for everyone
Yeah,
else. Like,
that's
so what do you think happens with those things, right? With those things that we know we're responsible for, we made those decisions for our own benefit. We know that they were wrong. We know that we've hurt others. What happens with that?
I think there's always guilt inside everyone, but rather than like compressing that guilt and blaming yourself, I think improving that would be the big big next step. Because if you just keep on like blaming yourself and keeping that in guilty, you might just end up harming yourself as well and your like mental health as well. So if you just learn from that mistake and never do that again, or at least never try to do that again, then that will like lower your guilt as well, and eventually you can just sort it out as well. And if you are in reach with that guy or person, you can always go back to them and just say, hey, I should not have told that, hey, I should not have done that, I'm
Right.
so sorry, I like my temper was bad, my mood was bad. Sometimes there's things that we say we didn't mean to say intentionally, so we were in like bad mood or something like that. So I
Yeah.
think removing that guilt is a prior thing, just having like anything. So I think so.
Do you think it's this idea of just trying harder, trying the better way next time? Do you think it works?
It does in most of the cases, but if that doesn't work, I would say don't blame yourself and don't like be like remain like rest of the life in the guilt that you didn't do it right. So
There's an interesting concept that Bible introduces in this. I don't know if you heard it from maybe some of your Christian friends, but Bible speaks often about, it compares the human heart to a stone, right? Our hearts of stone. That means that we're hard-hearted. That means that, and this was an example of Jewish people in the Bible whom God loved. He has blessed in different ways. He freed them from slavery. He gave them food and water and other things. They continue to. I mean, initially they were thankful for it, but as time went by, they started grumbling. Small things started irritating them, and they said, things are so bad now. We wish we were back to when we were slaves. Things were better then, right? So we, by nature, and then they turn to idols, and then they turn to like prostitution and murder and other things, right? And it's a picture, right? It's a picture of the fact that we are so fickle as human beings, right? Even when we're shown a better way, and even when we decide with our own hearts, okay, that is a good way. I know I was bad. I'm going to try very hard. It lasts maybe for a little while, and then we fall again, right? But this is the big problem, right? The Bible tries to describe, that's the problem of sin. Like, how do we overcome our own natures? Like, how do we better ourselves? If we are not able to do it ourselves, like, what is the solution, right? So I don't know if you ever heard, right? But this idea of that Bible introduces this idea of being born again. Have you heard of that word?
yeah, like this belief in my Hindu culture as well. You will get reincarnated and you will get born again as well.
But it's slightly different, though. It's slightly different. When I say, I think what you mean. Your idea of reincarnation requires like a physical death, right? And then there's something that decides what our next life is going to be, and it decides based on how we live this life. The Christian idea of being born again happens in this life.
Okay.
Right. So it happens when like a person realizes about themselves.
Okay, as in like enlightenment.
A kind of enlightenment. Let me just explain very briefly, right? So it means that, okay, there's a point in someone's life where they realize about themselves how depraved they are, how hard of the heart they are, right? And then they consider God, right? And they consider the fact that only they turn to God and say, God, I'm not able to help myself. Help me, please. Change me, change my heart, right? I'm going to put myself to you, and I'm going to ask you to change me. And then God does something in their heart. It changes their heart, right? God changes their heart to the extent that whatever they were before, they're changed. Their desires are changed. Their way of thinking is changed. What they loved to previously do, they actually don't love to do anymore. They now want to follow God completely and fully. They turned their back even on some of the friends that they had, and because they were bad influences, or they they completely change their life. I'm not saying that they're becoming priests or they're becoming like into the monasteries or something like that, but like there's a complete change about who they are and what they ultimately what their heart's desires are, and that's what we call being born again, because it's a sense that it's a change that comes not from within but comes from outside. It's a change where God sends His power,
But
His Holy Spirit.
to
to
this
us.
point, I think I would disagree with this one from outside. I think the guy who just like always like I mean like he says to church and he says like I'm like here I want to like change my heart, but the willingness come from inside. So they might be like external factor, the but main factor should be I think it is from the inside, the willingness from the guy. If he don't change his like patterns of the friends and the way he lives as well, it won't do anything if the God is like giving him blessing as well. So in every religion, like there used to be a bad guy as well, and they turn out to be like now they give up their all properties, they leave their family and devote their like everything to the God as well. But the thing that started and had the spark in it was from the inside. The guy started it and he tends to follow it. So the willingness from the inside guy, I think that brings a more overall like changes to his life rather than just having like external factors in it. You can go every Sunday you can go church, but it won't change anything. But if you are changing like you are having like willingness to change yourself and believing like you have to go do something within you, I think even though you don't have to go to like church, if you have something like you if you follow any other religious, you don't have to go masjid, temple, like church, but you will change yourself eventually. You will start like seeking like the morality, seeking the like the wisdom they gave it to you, and maybe like the things they like it should. I'm like how do I portray it like all in all I'm just portraying is like there should be like something spark within you so you can change yourself rather than just having external factor in it.
So that's an opinion, right? So I
Yeah, that's
respect your
completely- I
I respect
completely
your
agree with
opinion. I
you.
respect your opinion,
Yeah.
right? But I think looking at my own life example and those that I know that I've heard about who have given their own experiences, right? It's very much an external influence, right? Because they, like in many cases, they have tried different things internally, right? And that has not worked. Like I said, maybe it worked for a little while, but then before
Yeah, it will
before
then
too
fall
long, it changed again. It wasn't until there's something very different that happened to
Yeah,
them.
I'm completely agreeing with
Yeah.
you. I'm just like differentiating the factors like the spark and the willingness should be from that guy or maybe that person, and the external factor is like the third party experience. Like as I told before as well, if you go in a gym, there's like the same kind of mindset, and if you like roam around with the people, you just tend to follow like you have to make a good body and everything. But if you go in like friends with a rave party, you just tends to like do like party and all drugs and all. So maybe having an external factor, external influence definitely like alter your decision habit as well, but willingness is within you. Is your decision, you can ditch that friend. Is your decision, you can adapt that friend. So I would just modify in that way.
Okay, so like I said, I mean, I respect your opinion, but there are people, like I said, myself included, who would clearly, experientially disagree. Right? We would say they've tried. I mean, I'm not saying that there's not the willingness and an openness. I'm not saying that, right? But I'm saying that for the change to happen, this kind of change, right? Identity change, almost like how else could my desires change? How else could my thinking change? How else could my life completely change unless it is from an external influence,
Yeah,
right?
that's completely. I do agree
Right.
with that as well.
Yeah.
Like, I might be struggling with something as well, but if I still keeping my like life habit in the same loop, I would definitely end up in the same situation. So having that like faith in God and just completely cut off your background and just like having to in new environment, that would definitely change you. And obviously that's
Yeah.
blessing as well, like good energy as well, but obviously that will help a lot as you told as well. So I do
Right.
agree with that.
Right,
So
okay,
there
okay.
might be people like they might be struggling with drugs, they might be like having withdrawal if they don't have a drug, but if they just suddenly cut off everything and just go to someone new like environment and they say like the external factor is like main factor. I need to cut out everything. I need to go there. So that will definitely help it as well. Because in Nepal there's like called Vipassana. We like cut off everything. We don't have phone. We don't speak as well for like we have for the 7 days month, like 1 month as well. So all you do is like do yogas. You don't do any phone. You don't talk to each other. So you just look into yourself and you just figure out yourself what you want to do, and you just when you come out that vipassana as well, you just your priority will change. The priority getting a new phone, maybe a new car, would change into like getting a priority like feeding someone else, maybe having a better life. So that will transformation like the cutting of the like 7 days or maybe 1 month. It helped like influence from the external factor, but it like willingness from him as well. But yeah, all in all, as you said, it will definitely help.
Right, because I think the way you're describing is still sort of like something that we do, right? We cut ourselves off from the world, we kind of cut ourselves from the external influence, we search within, and then the change happens. I'm saying something different, right? I'm saying even with that, all of that, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we live in a spiritual world, and I'm saying that this world is not just physics, and it's not just what we can touch, feel, and what we can think about, our intellect,
I do
right?
agree with that.
There's a spiritual world that we can be influenced by the spiritual world, right? And I feel like there's evil influences in the spiritual world, right? But there's also the Holy Spirit, right? Which is the Spirit of God, right? That's what I'm saying. It's when the Holy Spirit overwhelms us, when we open ourselves to the Holy Spirit and invite Holy Spirit. But yeah, I was saying that it's the kind of the spiritual renewal, right? Which is not our own spirit, but our own spirit gets overwhelmed and gets overshadowed almost by the Holy Spirit of God, right? And that is when that powerful change actually happens, right? And that's where people testify that, look, it was just like I was going about my own business. I mean, in the Bible, there's a very famous story about Paul, who, on the road to Damascus, right, he had an experience. Jesus himself appeared to him, and he asked, like, "Why are you persecuting me? Right? Why are you going against my people?" And he went through this basically transformation, right? Whereas he went from being a persecutor, a killer of Christians, to being one of the biggest Christian teachers. He wrote a third of the New Testament of the Bible. He wrote his letters. He started churches. He started loving the Christians, not just Christians. He started loving enemies of Christians as well. Like, how do you go from being a murderer to being one of the biggest, saints in Christianity, right? Like, I mean, that's very difficult to explain unless it's some sort of a supernatural influence that happens to that person.
I think I completely agree with that as well, because in every religion, even Muslim, even Hindu as well, there's like so many examples that they were like bad influence to the culture, like to the society. They were doing the bad stuff. Then later on, like the having blessings, or maybe like you told, like the spiritual effect, they change themselves and they turn into a good thing. So yeah, I think I do agree with that as well, because in every religion there is an example for it, and it is evident as well.
Okay, now something else, just switching topic a little bit, right? Talking about kind of the different religions, right? We talked about kind of how do we know which one could be right, which ones could be wrong, and
I'm not saying like that as well.
Well, I guess I am, right? I'm kind of saying that they cannot all be right. Either they're all wrong, or one of them is right. The other ones must be wrong in terms of their claims, right? Maybe there's some sense in which I would agree that all of the religions are there to benefit human beings, their followers, right? Okay, fine. Otherwise, they wouldn't be religions, right? If they meant harm, it'll be a death cult. But if they're there to somehow improve the lives of their followers, that's true for everyone. And I think there's also a sense in which every religion is promoting kind of benefit also to the society, right? In the sense that, okay, if you follow these things, it will be good for you, and not just for you, but for the society at large. There will be some benefits to that. So there's some commonalities. I'm saying in their intent, religions have some commonalities. Also in their structure, they have some commonalities. But in their claims, they're exclusive, right? Exclusive. What I'm saying is, like Buddhism says, Well, there's no single God. There's no such thing as a
Yeah.
single God, right? There's nirvana. We're all seeking sort of nothingness, ultimately emptiness. But that's where the nirvana, that's where the satisfaction is ultimately found. When you empty yourself of this world and all the things, then you find nirvana, right? In Hinduism, I mean, you know this better than I do, but like there's multiple gods, and it's gods. You know, there's Vishnu, there's Shiva, there's Ganesh, and there's many other ones, right? And they have their place, and they're like god of this, god of that, and there's multiple. There's God almost in everything, right? There's like God in trees, in us, and everywhere. Everything's kind of an element, an avatar of God, right? Then Islam said there's only one God. He's Allah, right? He doesn't have sons, or you know, he doesn't have. Jesus was not his son. There's just prophets. There's only one God, right? And we need to follow him. There's very clear things that we need to do, right? Judaism would say there's only one God, but they're still waiting for the Messiah who's going to save the world. And Christianity says, right, there's one God, right? But the Messiah has come. Messiah has come. Jesus Christ has come. Right? I mean, these are all exclusive and mutually exclusive, different claims. It cannot be that Buddhism is true while Christianity is true.
I
Right.
think it's subjective thing as well. The more we debate, more we like get into it as well. Because it, as I told before, it could be right for you. It could not be right for me as well. So same thing with religion. Like they might believe something is right because of their upbringing, because of their culture, molarity as well. So I do respect everyone's perspective, but as you told, everyone might not be right, but they might not be right in certain instance
Yep.
to certain people and certain environments. So every claim and every religions they have made, it could not be applied in every single time because it's subjective thing as well. So even the Buddhism as well, the Gautam Buddha, he didn't want it to be a god. He said there's no god in it, like there's no god at all. So don't pray me as a god. But now, as you can see, the worldwide, the most selling, like one of the most selling, the statue would be the Gautam Buddha, and people like pray the statue of the Gautam Buddha. So yeah, so I think having a perspective from like different people, more you will get into it, the more it will be debatable. So I think having a wiser and open arms to everything and doing what you want to do from inside, because end of the day it's your journey. The religion, the claims, the everything, it's just a framework. If you wish to follow it, that's completely to you. If you don't want to wish it, and just mix max, like as I do as well, mix max from everything, I can do that as well. So
Okay, well, I know that's your approach, but I would disagree with that, right? Because I would say, look, when you're mixing and matching something, it's like almost like you're mixing and matching like math and I don't know, art, right? Like, oh, okay, so 2 plus 2 may be 4, but you know, in some cases it may not be 4 actually. And someone says 2 and 2 are 3, or 2 and 2 want to be 5. You know, that's good for them. That's good for them. That's going to make them happy. I'm not going to disagree with them, but you try to get into a plane. Or into a rocket by someone who thought that 2 plus 2 is 5, right? You would just look dude, with respect. I'm not going to trust you because you have no idea how math works. So I'm not going to follow you. That's your delusion, right? So fine, you go on your own way, right? But that's what I'm seeing, how I see the religion as well. I with respect. I'm not saying that we need to disrespect people or that we need to fight them or we need to get into conflict with them. That's not what I'm saying. But at the same time, if there is a right and there's a wrong, we here, and certainly the UK and the Western society, we believe in an open exchange of ideas, right? I mean, I don't know if you're studying here in universities or not, right? Like I went to the Western University, right? There's an open exchange of ideas. All ideas can be brought forth, but all ideas are also subject to criticism, right?
that's true.
And challenge, right? Towards getting to some sort of a truth. And when you find a truth will set you free. There's a quote from the Bible, because why is the truth set you free? Because truth allows you freedom, because it tells you what is wrong. So you can avoid things that are wrong, avoid the cases where 2 plus 2 is 5, or those people who say 2 plus 2 is 5. So you can focus on those things that say 2 plus 2 is 4, because those things are going to take you further in life, because that describes reality. That describes reality much more accurately than those who claim something else, which is not reality, right? So if you want to follow something that is not reality, fine, but it's not going to get you as far in life as those things that do describe reality, right? So that's what I'm saying. So if we, again, I'm very open to comparative religion studies, and we should say, not be afraid to say, look, I appreciate you believe this, but I disagree with you. Like, it doesn't mean that I'm going to fight you now. It doesn't mean I'm going to like pull my weapon against you. But you know, I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong for such and such a reason. You're wrong because of this, and this. Consider that. Have a think about that. If you disagree with me, tell me why I think I'm wrong.
Yep.
And we'll have a debate. We'll have a discussion. We'll have an exchange of ideas. That's why political parties. That's exactly what they do, right? They don't necessarily have to go into war with one another. But the Labour and Conservatives, or Democrats and the Republicans, right? They still exist. Mm-hmm. They disagree how the country should be run. They say one thing, they say other thing. Like, they have reasons. They could tell you 5 different reasons why the other party is wrong. That doesn't mean they hate each other. It just means, okay, you disagree with me, I disagree with you.
They didn't disagree with certain things.
Right, but we can still have the debate. We can have an understanding. We can try to convince one another as well. Like, ultimately, like, as a Christian, right? I would want to see the world become Christian, not because I'm a megalomaniac, not because I want everyone to go to church, not because I want everyone to sort of give money to the church. None of that, right? Mm-hmm. But I would want everyone to become Christians because I think it's true. Because I think it's true. Now, if you want to tell me, look, you're wrong, and here's why I think, I will listen to you. I will have my ears will be open. I'll say, please convince me, because ultimately I'm a seeker of truth. So if you think I'm wrong, I don't want to live my life in a lie. If you think that you're right? Because from a Hindu perspective, you have evidence and you have arguments why Christianity is false. I would expect you to convince me otherwise. Because if you love me as a human being, I mean, you talked about, loving the human being earlier. I think someone who loves another human being, I think you would want to tell them the truth.
I think like in the Hindu, it does not say like the Muslim is wrong and Christian is wrong.
Why not? Why?
It does not say anything.
Because
like
of fear factor, right? Because of conflict.
No, I don't think so. There's a fear factor as well. When it started, the passing down the wisdom, everyone had their own thought. They wrote it down.
Right.
It just passed it on as well. So we should look into it as well. As I told earlier, it's your journey. You have to figure it out. The one thing that could work for me could not work for you. The same thing, it could work for you, it could not work for me as well. So it's not a black and white. So it's a gray line always there. And you could completely disagree with me. That's completely fine. I might think about it, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe after a month. Then I will just realize as well. The same thing with you as well. Yeah. It will go like both way. So having what's wrong and everything should follow that. It's your opinion. I do respect that as well. But for me, having a freedom of you can switching your religion, switching your belief, it gives you more freedom and more flexibility and looking into you as well. Does it work for me? And does it even helping me as well? At least give me a try to try myself. And if that doesn't work, I'll just move on and do next thing.
Yeah, are you open to someone telling you that you're wrong?
Yeah, I will say I'm openly saying I'm wrong as well, because I've done some of the bad things as well. So if I do something wrong, I will just look into it. Did something influence me to do wrong, or did I do wrong myself? So if something influenced me to do wrong, maybe like the framework of Hindu culture as well, so I'll just completely stop and I'll just follow that traditional, not the whole religion, but that certain part. And then I'll look into something else and I'll just do myself.
Yeah, that's all I'm sort of asking for, right? I mean, ultimately, again, going back to university, I went to university because I wanted to understand, learn something, right? Now imagine if I went to university and, I listen, I'm like, that's kind of like, okay, I'll think about it, right? Well, why am I paying? Why am I paying this guy and this university so much money? I'm here to learn. Basically, that means I'm submitting myself under someone who I think is expert, who has something to teach me, who's going to lay out his arguments, he's going to lay out the case. Yes, ultimately I have to decide what I think is right or wrong.
But the learning is just a process, it's not a one-day thing. So
it isn't, but 4 years, right? I went to university for 4 years and looked at the things for 4 years. Like at the end of the 4 years, like if you're still coming out of it and saying, it was a waste of time, right?
It depends on you as well. Like some people tends to grab and they do drop out before even then like completing university, and they will be expert in it.
Yep.
But some people, even though they complete, they do masters, they postgraduate, they feel like they still need to learn something and
Sure.
just go back to university on and on. So I don't think so just going in university, because I'm the university student as well. So I don't believe that after completing, I have only 1 year left. So after completing that degree, I won't be like fully proof like ready. So I need to go back in real world. I need to do some stuff in like IT field. I need to like learn myself as well.
Yeah.
And I need to make error. Then after that, I'll learn myself as well. But having a university gives me like freedom and framework. Like this is the guidance. If you find the error, this is the process of debugging it.
Yeah.
So same thing with religion. This is the framework. Like follow it, and if you find some error, you can rectify yourself. And if you feel guilty, come back to us. We are God, we accept you, and you can feel sorry, we'll just accept you, and you can just change yourself as well. That's the thing, I guess.
But I heard you say something different, like, cause like I first of all, I think you said IT. My background is IT as well. I went through 5 years of IT university. I got the masters, I got the computer science bachelor's and masters. I'm currently in the field, in the IT field, right? So I went through the IT field the same way I would approach religion, in the
Yep.
same way,
Yep.
right? I didn't just, I wasn't always a Christian. I became a Christian through almost the same process as I would apply like writing a computer program, right?
Yep.
You test it,
Test it, find the error.
find the error,
And
right?
debug it.
If it's debugging, right? If it works, if you got the answer, if it works, you said this is good, and if it just doesn't work, doesn't make sense, you leave it, right? Then you need to do something different. I guess that's exactly what I'm saying here. It cannot be that Buddhism is true, Christianity is true, Islam is true, Hinduism is true, all at the same time. One of those has an error, right? Because they're making different claims. They're all trying to do the same things, right? But one of them they cannot be all true at the same time, right?
I think I would respect that as well, but I won't completely agree with that as well, because if I use Java and if that works for me, and if I don't find any error, that's completely fine. But if I do Python with the same outcome, I could find the same solution, but it could be lengthy, it could be short as well. I could find error as well. So it depends on like having which platform you use and what the results you get. More or less, is it easier, complex to you? The same thing with religion as well. So they are trying to bring something good to the society. It could be some route with lengthy, some could be complex, some could be completely nonsense as well. So as you told, like every single religions or maybe like thing, belief would not be right at the same time if they are bringing a same outcome. So, but it's completely subjective thing as well. It could work for you, it could not work for me. It could work for me, like it could not work for someone else. So if we have the same outcome, more or less, you have your own journey. It could be complex, easy, it's up to you. But end of the day, if you have the same aim and outcome, that should work. I won't say the Christian is superior and Buddhism is superior and Hindu is superior, but more or less, the process is the main learning key point for me, rather than having like.
Why wouldn't you say that one is superior? Like, I would not be afraid of saying Buddhism is superior to Christianity if there's a valid reason to do so. Just like I wouldn't be like be afraid to say that, like, I don't know, JavaScript is superior to Pascal or to Python or whatever it is. Like, if I had some good arguments to speak about that, I would not be afraid to say that.
The thing is like, if I have not vast knowledge about it, I won't speak up as well, because I have not dig down a lot into every religion to tell me that this is superior for me. So I'm still in a learning process. One day I might find it.
Yeah.
So it's the learning process.
Okay, good. I mean, that's fine. I mean, I appreciate if someone says that, okay, I don't have enough information and knowledge to reach a conclusion, but that's different than saying, look, I will pick and choose because I think they're all true, and so at any given point in time, I'll make it a menu. And so I will, but I would say that's where I had a problem, right? I had a problem when you were saying, well, I'll pick and choose. Whereas what you just said now, I would be completely okay with that, right? Because we have to understand that we're limited. We don't have enough information. We can only conclude based on enough information that is put before us. And if we don't have the confidence to do that. That's absolutely fine, right? But that only invites more learning, right? So that should invite us to research, right? To apply ourselves, to study, to reach the conclusions, so that we can say one day we can say, look, I've done enough research, I've done enough pursuing this, that I think I can say now with confidence, okay, I believe this is true and this is no longer true. That's all I'm saying here.
Okay, yeah, maybe there's a learning process. For now, I don't have any conclusion from my side, at least from my side. So I won't say any bold statement that would offend anyone. And maybe when I look back to this video, I'll regret myself as well. So that's why I'm just being like vague, not being like
Vague,
super
okay.
specific.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. I apologize if I put you under too much pressure, but I was intentionally trying to sort of understand your views, right? Understand your views, crystallize your views, and apologies if I came up a little bit too harsh.
That's completely fine. That's completely fine. Because this is like religion, politics. This thing is like kind of like individual and like subjective thing. So it will might heat up as well. So.
No, I know, and you know what? You're not first. You're not the first Nepalese Hindu that I've spoken to in Charlton here in this area. There's so many.
But I do completely agree with that as well. They might not believe same thing as me. They might say completely opposite thing. So.
No, but actually, what I was going to say is they're very similar. Every one of you guys, one of you guys are similar, right? And this is why I was trying to like over the years that I've done this. Like, there's something here, right? Either you guys are afraid to offend someone. Because there's a sense in which there's too much writing on this. There's too much like, okay, if you say one thing or another, you have too many things that could go against you, right? Whether you're some of your friends that are of other religion, they might see this and they might say, oh, I thought we were friends, and now you're saying this. You might offend someone, and there's a cultural thing also potentially. So I felt like there's a whole lot of other things being mixed up here, some sort of a fear or whatever it is.
I think more than fear, we would say like it's a learning curve, because most of the people are still in their learning phase and they are just going on their own path. So if they say something like more than outdoor thing, they might fear themselves. So if they say something wrong, and they will look back onto them and just say like, this was irrelevant, I should not have told that. I told, like as we speak earlier about the guilt, so guilt would still remain on them. So maybe just to avoid guilt, they are just having this statement. And also we are open to everything. The culture we were just brought up, we have like lots of festival and lots of like people around us, and it's a small country. We have to like be together anyways. So that could be the factors that having like, rather than having a fear or maybe having we are right, you are wrong, maybe we never, like, to be honest, we never even discussed this topic in our country as well. So they were no stress, they were nothing. So they follow their path, they follow their like whatever they feel like is easy. They can switch their religions, they can like explore, they can like do eras, they can come back, they can say sorry. That's completely fine. Within one same family there is like Christian, Buddhist, everyone, and like in my cousins as well there's a mix up as well. So I don't think so there's a fear, but having a learning curve and maybe having a limitation of knowledge to conclude anything. So that could be one like major factors that they have the same answer as me.
Fair. That's fair. Great. Well, I appreciated this conversation. Thank you so much for your time and your views and your thoughts. I mean, again, the reason I do this, well, there's twofold reason, right? One is that I do want to share a little bit of what I believe, right? Because I think, like I said previously, it's out of love, not out of hate.
True. That's completely true.
Not out of hate, but because out of love. I think it's important to know the truth, and I want to share the truth with them and just leave it with the person to have a think about that, consider it, but let it rest with them. The other reason is I want people to never stop, even if they disagree with me, and I'm perfectly fine if people disagree with me. I think I don't want them to stop searching for the truth,
Yeah,
right?
I do completely agree
Right,
that.
and so don't stop, don't rest on it. There could be more information that comes in. To your point, like we are learning while we're young, but also we're learning when we're old, and so we should open ourselves to new information and find a place where we have answered our questions, because these are very important questions of religion. It's not just because it's religion, but because it speaks about our life, our purpose of life, and our ultimate what happens after life. I mean, these are big questions that we should all have an answer to at some point. Yeah.
Hopefully, finger crossed.
Was that?
Hopefully, finger crossed.
Yeah, finger crossed. Yeah, awesome. Thank you again. Sorry to take up so much of your time, but I enjoyed the conversation.
sir.
I appreciate your honesty.